Hey, yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. And today is Wednesday, the best day of the week. You know why? Because it's comic book day. So that means we are going to be taking a look at my comic load for the week. And this is a pretty big week, as you can see, because they have four of the second wave coming out. So I said that I would be picking up at very minimum issue one of each comic from the second wave, just to give it a chance. Because if anything I learned from the new 52, and a philosophy I have in life is, never judge a book by its cover, give something a chance, because you never know if you might like it. Tons of the books from the new 52 I normally wouldn't have read, but I gave them a chance, and I turned out loving them. So we have a lot of comics. I think 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 comics to get through today. So, shall we start? We'll start things off with the second wave comics first, because those are, I guess, what everyone wants to talk about. So we'll start off with Earth 2, issue number 1. And I guess this is the big one this week. At least it was the big one for me. And it kind of is parallel to the beginning of the Justice League story, where it's actually set 5 years in the past. The basic concept is that on this Earth, Darkseid attacked, and they only had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman to help out. I mean, they had Helena, who was Robin, and Kara, who was Supergirl at the time, but they didn't have Hal, they didn't have Barry, they didn't have Vic Stone, they didn't have Aquaman, they didn't have the rest of the Justice League helping out the Trinity. So it was just them, and it's basically the story of the final battle for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And it kind of leads into what will be starting, what I think will be the Justice Society, because Jay Garrick is introduced, and also Alan Scott are introduced towards the end. But it really kind of sets the tone for the comic, and it kind of sets the atmosphere for the comic. Good. Spoiler, just a little bit of a spoiler. I kind of already gave away. This is probably going to be the only issues that you're going to see Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman in. I think it was a great way to start off the series, because Earth 2 should not focus on the Trinity. We have enough of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman floating around throughout the DCU. This should focus on the Justice Society members: Alan Scott, Ted Grant, Jay Garrick, Dr. Fate. It should focus on those characters and the younger generation too. So I do like the fact that they handled the departure of the Trinity in a very good way. If they truly are dead, I mean that we can guarantee two of them are. One of them is kind of iffy, but you're pretty much sure that they're gone. Again, not giving anything away. In the very beginning of the page, it tells you that this is their final mission. Uh, some nice moments in there, and nice moments between Batman and his daughter. And I like the setup for Jay Garrick and Alan Scott towards the end. The fight scenes were pretty good. Just overall, it had a good feel to it, and the art was very good too. Bad. Um, Darkseid wasn't there at all. Steppenwolf was the main bad guy of this issue. And while I'm okay with Darkseid not being there, if Darkseid sending his forces there, it would have been nice if he made just a little bit of an appearance. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and Robin seem to be the only heroes around. They really didn't make any mention to any other heroes, so I was left guessing on exactly, is there an Aquaman? Was there Dick Grayson? I mean, I'm sure you can't answer all these questions in one issue, but it would have been nice to have a little bit of reference, maybe seeing some dead bodies of certain superheroes, or maybe just seeing them fighting off. I think the only superhero that was referenced was Roy Harper, and he's not a hero, he was actually in the army. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, I'll give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Kind of exceeded my expectations of what the series was going to be, the comic was going to be, but did it in a different way, because I thought they were going to have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman be the main heavy hitters of Earth 2, but refreshingly and surprisingly in a good way that they're not. So Earth 2 seems to be starting off very nicely. And it's to be expected because James Robinson is writing it, and James Robinson is a good writer, save from Cry for Justice, but that was a very much editorial stuff. So definitely pick up Earth 2. It was fun, it was enjoyable, and is enough different from the mainstream DCU that it can stand out on its own. Next, we're doing Huntress Power Girl, The World's Finest, issue number 1. This ties into Earth 2 slightly. Basically, what happens is, and I'm tad bit of a spoiler, but not too much. In Earth 2, after all is said and done, and Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman uh, get their mission done, a portal opens, and Robin and Supergirl think it's uh, a boom tube. They think Steppenwolf's going to come out or Darkseid's going to come out. So basically, what they do is they fly into it. Little did they know it was a portal to Earth 1 or Earth Prime. I think it's called Earth Prime now. So this kind of picks up where their story left off in Earth 2. So if you're picking up both comics, read Earth 2 first, then read World's Finest. Kind of picks up where they left off. You get to see how they been living their life a little bit, how their reaction to this world. For example, the first thing that they see is they see that there's a Superman on this Earth, but it's not their Superman. Uh, and you get to see Power Girl wear her costume for the first time. Uh, Good. It does kind of fill in a little bit of the gaps a bit. It did what kind of a first issue should have done, introduced us to the characters, gave a little bit of backstory, but not too much, gave us motivation, which their main motivation is get the hell off this earth. And it's not like we haven't seen Huntress or Power Girl before this. Power Girl was in Mr. Terrific for a few issues, and Huntress had her own mini. So again, it's not like we're not getting these two at all beforehand. We kind of already established a little bit with them. Um, there was nice witty dialogue between the two of them. I think Huntress and Power Girl have a good relationship going on here. And again, I like the transition from the Earth 2 comic into this comic. Bad, I think the enemy that they're going to fight is a little generic and silly. And we really didn't get any fight scenes at all. We had some action, but no real fight. I think there was only Huntress, like in a flashback, fought some person, and the fight scene against what's his name, the reactor, or they don't even say his name. But on a whole, whether or not you should get it, 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was enjoyable. It was fun. Didn't blow me away. Wasn't quite as good as Earth 2, but I do still recommend picking it up, and I will continue picking this up, at least for the foreseeable future. I'll pick up issue number 2, and we'll go from there. Mr. Terrific fans, issue number 2, he's going to show up in, so looking forward to that. Next for the second wave is GI Combat issue number 1. I was looking forward to this issue because basically this is just the new Men of War, and I was a big fan of Men of War. And this issue is also dealing with two previous DC comics, which were the Wartime Forgot and The Unknown Soldier, both of which you can pick up in this Showcase Presents series if you feel like it. And basically the Wartime Forgot is dinosaurs are roaming around in Japan, and the American forces show up to help out. I believe it's Japan. It's either Japan or Korea. Let me just double check. They have a mission, and it wasn't Japan. I can't find North Korea. I was I was close. North Korea. So dinosaurs start showing up in North Korea, and the army goes to fight them. And then the unknown soldier is exactly what it is. It is the unknown soldier. He goes around and he causes damage and trouble. No one knows who he is or where he's from, except they give him his backstory in this. Onto the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good, I like the outrageous, campy, not campy, but the outrageous serial sci-fi tone of this. It's the United States and North Korea government versus dinosaurs. And the unknown soldier is a great concept. A soldier no one knows who he is, where he's from, what he did, and why he's doing what he's doing. The concepts are good. The art direction for both of them are nice. There's some pretty nice panels in this, particularly in the unknown soldier one. There's one where he's riding the horse. Really good action in this. Bad. The bad is mostly the unknown soldier. We get his backstory. We don't get his name, but we know why he's joined the army, why he's doing what he's doing. It adds fuel to his motivation, and it does give us a layer of depth for him. But it would be nice if we got that over a span of time rather than, right away. Maybe in flashbacks here and there. On a whole, GI Combat, when I first read it, it was okay. But looking back on it now, it was actually a pretty good issue. I will give this also 3.5 out of 5 stars. Pretty fun, pretty enjoyable. Not something that I would have as the first thing on my pull list, but the writing teams on this actually did a pretty good job with the two scenarios, the one character and then the War that Time Forgot. It was actually pretty good. So 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next is Dial H, which is similar to GI Combat, is a playoff of an old DC comic, which was Dial H for Heroes, or Dial H for Hero. And the basic concept of this comic is that any Joe Schmo can become a hero, and it was really just that. This guy right here, he's out of shape, drinks a lot, smokes a lot, but his friend gets attacked. Why, I won't reveal, but his friends get attacked, and he tries to call 911, accidentally hits H, and he gets transformed into, I wouldn't call it a hero, but he gets transformed into a superpowered being. And every time you dial H for hero, your transformation will be different. So maybe one time you will be able to manipulate water in people. The other time you'll be able to manipulate people's emotions. It always changes depending on, you know, well, I don't really know what it depends on. Maybe your state of mind, because some of the transformations of this gentleman were reflections of himself. I really wasn't expecting much going into this. I have to say it wasn't bad. I'm not really gonna go into the good, the bad, or whether or not gonna get it, but it wasn't bad. But it's not my cup of tea. It's not really what I like. So it probably deserves a higher score, but I'm just gonna give it a 3 out of 5. It was fun reading, but I don't think I'll pick it up anymore because, well, interesting concept. It's just not something I'm into. That's me personally. Again, I recommend everyone to at least get the issue number ones and stuff, just to see if you like it, because your opinion may differ from mine. So those are from the second wave. Let's get back onto the main New 52. On to Night of the Owls for Detective Comic issue number 9. Um, I was a little curious on why Batman's in Detective Comics for this, because he really should be in Batman, but they kind of make it work, kind of. Basic concept is Jeremiah Arkham is on the list for the owls to take out. So they attack him. Batman tries to intervene, but it really is Arkham who sets his inmates loose to take out these bad talons, these assassins of the Court of Owls. What I did like about this, and I'll get into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. I liked Jeremiah Arkham's dialogue in this. I don't know if it was Tony Daniel or if it was someone else that did Last Arkham. Give me 1 sec. I'll double check. Um, 1 sec. Actually, it wasn't Tony Daniel that did Last Arkham, but I've really liked how they've been handling Dr. Arkham in the past few years. Obviously, the reboot, the retcons to him, he's no longer Ben Black Mask. Actually, Black Mask shows up in this. He's alive. And he acts a little different. Clayface shows up in this. Mr. Zaz shows up in this. A couple of the inmates show up in this. And there's also a backup dealing with Two-Face. But yeah, like I said, good. I thought Jeremiah Arkham was handled very nicely. Dr. Arkham handled very nicely. The art was good. The fighting was good. And it tied into Night of Owls pretty smoothly. Like I said, how is Batman here when he's supposed to be at his house? We can just assume this takes place after he leaves Wayne Manor. I would have liked, yeah. The backup issue is a Two-Face backup issue, and I like the art for it, although I'm just not interested in the story. I really don't know what the story is, to be true. Some guy got blackmailed, and Two-Face is helping him out. Bad, like I said, Batman really shouldn't have been in this issue. It kind of works, but it's kind of not that. It would have been better if this was just Arkham trying to protect himself, and then he just releases the inmates on Talons. That would have been pretty good. Um, and like I said, I just wasn't interested in the Two-Face story. On a whole, Detectives, I would give a 3 out of 5. Pick it up if you've been enjoying the series. If not, it's not necessary. Another Night of the Owls crossover is going to be Batwing. Basically, this takes place earlier on in the day when the Owls are first released. And I kind of almost jumped to the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it right away. But yeah, basically what happens is Lucius Fox is one of the people that targeted, and Batwing needs to protect him. Batwing is still in Gotham after his excursion to get Massacre, and he fights off the Talon, and boy, does he do it in a badass way. I will not reveal, but the fight scene in this, jumping right into the good, is great. So we might as well jump into the good. The fight scene in this is really good, really fun. I really like how it was resolved. Again, you have to understand these Talons aren't actually alive. They're reanimated. It's kind of weird. They're not alive. So I like how things are handled. I think Batwing is a badass in this. Batwing has really been turning out to be a great character. Uh, I like we get a little bit more insight into the Court of Owls. We get a little bit more of the court itself outside of the Talons themselves. So I kind of like we get a little bit more of the court themselves. Bad, I can't really think of any bad at all. I really did enjoy this issue a lot. It was really fun. It tied things up very nicely. I'll give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Batwing has continuously been good. On to something that hasn't been continuously as good, sadly enough. Green Arrow issue number 9. This is concluding the Skylands, or I forget what their names are, the triplets story arc with the blonde girls. Basically, in the last issue, one of them fell for Green Arrow. And although she betrayed him a few times, she still fell for him. And it's legitimate. She actually loves him. However, she can't be away from her sisters too long, or she starts to fall apart. She gets sick. She doesn't feel well. And ultimately, her father is basically oppressing the people that live here, so Green Arrow is going to take him down. Um, yeah, that's basically it. Good. I I genuinely liked the kind of chemistry that was going on between blonde chick, generic blonde chick number one, and Green Arrow, and how it ended was actually pretty tragic. And I know that might spoil a bit, but tragic can be in anything. So it ended in a very tragic way, but in a very good tragic way. Um, when we got some fight scenes, they weren't that bad. Green Arrow versus the girls and the father were actually pretty good. Uh, but that's really where it ends. I guess another good is that it's over. Bad. Uh, really don't know why. I mean, the story just wasn't that strong. I didn't feel as though I was engaged in it that much. I didn't feel as though I was part of it that much. Um, the art, while it wasn't bad, I think was a little too colorful for its worth. And I don't know, I just felt lost in it a bit. And Green Arrow didn't feel like Green Arrow to me. Felt more like Green Arrow in the previous issues with the other team. Whether or not you should get it, I'll give it 2.3 out of 5 stars. The ending was nice, the fight scenes was nice, but other than that, it really wasn't good. Don't really get it. Hopefully, it gets better. Maybe the next creative team will make it better. Teen Titans Annual Issue number 1. This is a 4.99 and it is thick. This is like 3 issues worth, almost. It's broken up into chapters, and this is the start of the culling. And basically, the culling is this: we have the big bad, which is the Harvest. He gets all these teenage superheroes together, or metahumans, and he has them fight against each other. And then the victors, he makes his Ravengers, and the losers are dead. Hey, sucks to be you. This is basically a crossover between the Legion Lost and the Teen Titans. So, um, I almost lost my train of thought because I was thinking of something with the Legion Lost. So yeah, the Legion Lost versus the Teen Titan. They have a big fight. And it's actually pretty fun to watch. This has a lot of story for it, and it is actually pretty good when kicking off the actual culling crossover. It actually compels me and makes me want to pick up Legion Lost issue number 9, at the very least to pick up the issue. It also has a lot of extras in the back, concept designs. Kind of, it even actually gives you a framework of nowhere and where the harvest and the culling where harvest is and where the culling is being held. Uh, Actually, detailed, uh, really detailed uh, diagram of the actual city. Uh, People felt in character, and this really actually set up the story very nicely. Uh, I have nothing to complain about this issue at all. This was a. I'll also give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Maybe it was helped by the fact that there was more here with this annual that I got to get more of the story. But this makes me interested in the Ravengers issue number 1. This makes me want to pick up Legion issue number 9 or Legion Lost issue number 9 to continue the story. And they actually give you a framework of how you need to pick up these stories. So let me just pull to the page here so that I can read it. So chronologically, it starts off with Superboy issue number 8, then Legion Lost issue number 8, then Teen Titans issue number 8. Then the culling itself is Teen Titans Annual issue number 1, which is part 1. Superboy issue number 9 is part 2. Legion Lost number 9 is part 3. Teen Titans number 9 is part 4. And then the aftermath is the Ravagers. So this was actually surprisingly really good. Teen Titans, which has been kind of an up and down series, issue number 1 of the annual was a good kickoff to the Cullen story arc, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. Next is Stormwatch issue number 9. This crossovers with Red Lanterns, and I've actually read up to issue number 8 of Red Lanterns. Issue number 8 is over there. I read up to issue number 8. Issue number 9 is in my box right now. I didn't pick it up today, ironically. But this crossovers with issue number 8, and basically in issue number 8 of Red Lanterns, Atrocitus sends Starlink, or something like that, the goat dude right here, to Earth on a mission. However, he's stopped by Midnighter and Apollo, and a big fight ensues. We also get a former member of the Shadow Cabinet. Actually, he's not part of the Shadow Cabinet. He's part of Stormwatch from Da Vinci's time. Warps to the future somehow, and Martian Manhunter and the rest of them have to deal with him. Like I said, big fight ensues. A lot of Apollo, a lot of Midnighter in this. You get to see their relationship started. What kind of confuses me is they're calling each other honey or dear, and they're talking about how they're, like, for example, Midnighter says, Apollo, your eyes are your best feature. Are they an official couple yet, or are they kind of just doing the dance? Um, I wouldn't really mind them becoming a couple so soon. I want them to be a couple, but I thought they would play it out a little bit longer. I don't know if anything's official, but their relationship is actually developing very nicely too. Bad. Oh, I didn't really go into good. The good is good fight scenes, good stuff between Apollo and Midnighter, and a nice setup for the next issue. And I liked how the Red Lanterns were utilized in this. Bad is, although there's a lot of great Midnighter and Apollo stuff, I feel as though a lot of the other characters haven't been utilized as well. For example, Martian Manhunter, I really think he should be utilized more. It should really be Apollo, Midnighter, and Martian Manhunter as the three big of this book, and I don't think it would be that hard to do. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, 4 out of 5 was fun. Stormwatch has been kind of up and down lately, also more up than down, but this was a fun issue. Really enjoyed the crossover, so pick it up. We're coming on to the last 4 things, so let's jump into Animal Man issue number 9, where we last left off on a really good issue. Buddy Baker had been attacked by the Rot, and he died. Now he is in the red, and the Rot has control of his body. And again, this is a very much set up. He has to go on a journey in the red. He needs to find the totems of the red so he can talk to them to get his body back. And the family is once again on the run. It leaves off with Constantine from Justice League Dark actually showing up, which makes me wonder if Justice League Dark is going to cross over into Animal Man. And saying that, good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I'm just going to jump into whether or not you should get it. I'm going to give Animal Man this week a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It feels as though we fell back into the motion of we're on the run, we are on the run, what are we going to do, what are we going to do, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't feel as though a lot happened in this issue outside of, Animal Man going to the red, and that's it. The family's still on the run, and that's about all. What was really good about this, and what the series really definitely has good going for it, is dialogue. The dialogue is really good, especially between the family, and I think the writer really captures the essence of a 4-year-old child. So, yeah, Anime Man, good, not quite as good as last week, but still enjoyable. Moving on to Swamp Thing, we have issue number 9, and it is the Queen of the Rot, Abigail Arkham versus Alec Holland, Swamp Thing, in a showdown of the Millennium. Kind of. Actually, this issue can kind of be broken up into two kind of parts. The first part is Alec Holland versus Abigail Arkham and him trying to convince her to not be part of the Rot. The second part is her new form and what she does with it. And she is a badass. Um, yeah, badass. And it leads off on a cliffhanger. The Rot. What do they call it? They have a specific name for it. But the avatar of the Rot, uh, Seath, yeah, Seath, Sethe. Um, yeah, he's not the big bad. We all thought he was. He's not. Someone else is coming back. That's better. So good. I thought Abigail Arkham was handled pretty well here. Abigail Arcane. I called her Arkham. Really weird. I got some Arkham on the mind. But I thought she was handled well here. Her new form is awesome. And her new powers are awesome too. She can now harness the power of the Rot and her previous powers pretty interestingly. Swamp Thing was awesome in this. I like the relationship between the two of them. And it sets up more mysteries being set up. Bad. There was some panels in this where I didn't know what was going on with her just floating around and blowing stuff up, and you're just kind of like, what's going on? That and Seath was kind of a wuss. He really didn't do too much. He sat there and he just took a beating. For uh, for what it's worth, the Rot has been portrayed as kind of this badass entity, and I just didn't feel it in this. I know we have another big bad from the Rot showing up, but I'm still a little upset that it was a little anticlimactic with this fight. Um, on a whole, whether or not you should get it, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Swamp Thing was fun this week. It was enjoyable. Wasn't as good as last week, but it did have some high points. Pick it up. Last two coming up, Justice League issue number 9, or Justice League International issue number 9. OMAC versus the Justice League International. I like OMAC. I think OMAC is a pretty good fella. He's pretty neato. Maybe that's just me, but I like OMAC. I thoroughly enjoyed his series, and I enjoy the concept. Sure, his comic book wasn't the perfect comic book out there. There were hiccups here and there, but I liked OMAC. I thought he was fun. It was like a throwback to the old Silver Age. Reminiscing a bit. Anyways, yeah, OMAC comes to the Justice League International because I'm just going to call them the JLI. He comes to the JLI because he wants Batman's help, because he thinks Batman can help him. Because, I mean, it's Batman. What can he not do? But he goes to the Justice League International, the JLI, and something starts to control him. and he has very little control over his body. And there's a big showdown between the JLI and him. This also leads into the stuff that's happening in Firestorm. If you're not reading Firestorm right now, I recommend you do. Firestorm issue number 9 took place in Paris, and it's going to cross over with the JLI. So the JLI has to go to Paris. No big spoiler here. I have a feeling that OMAC is going to be joining the team, and good, he better. Uh, good. The fight scenes were awesome. OMAC versus the Justice League International was great. It was cool when he was tearing up the ground and throwing at them. And it's kind of funny. Guy Gardner creates a body armor construct that looks very much like Iron Man. It's kind of cool. I don't know if there was a little poke here and there, and then he takes a hammer that looks like Thor's hammer, which is pretty cool. Um, Great fight scenes. I thought the dialogue was handled well. Godiva was actually likable in this issue. Um, and I like that they're kind of connecting over with Firestorm, doing a little bit more of world building here, which is nice. Bad, I feel as though, although I do like the addition to the roster, I feel as though a lot of characters are still not being utilized. I know that Fire, Ice, and Vixen are kind of out right now, but I mean, what happens when they come back? The team is going to be huge. So there needs to be some team management right now. And, I think that's something very important because these are great characters. All of them are great characters, but unfortunately, some of them are going to be cut. But I hope OMAC stays on the team. Whether or not you should get it, 4.5 out of 5 stars. We got a lot of 4.5 out of 5 stars this week. And Justice League International does a great job. I know a lot of people haven't been liking this series. I've been kind of okay with it. But this issue was really good, really fun. And if you have not been exposed to OMAC yet, well, get ready. And last but not least, we have Action Comics issue number 9 featuring President Obama. Okay, it's not President Obama, but it is Superman from Earth 23, I believe. Let me just check. I believe it's Earth 23. Um, they said at some point what Superman he was, and I'm 99% sure it was 23. It was in the 20s. Anyways, the basic concept is that they do a lot of multiverse jumping. Yeah, I didn't really find it, but I think it's Earth 23. They do some multiverse jumping, and in one universe, Clark, Lois, and Jimmy Olsen are super geniuses, and Clark is actually on Earth. He's human, whatever. So they use their knowledge to create the perfect Superman, but unfortunately, their not this contraption, this perfect Superman they created, went wrong and started taking over and made life a living hell. So they started jumping from Earth to Earth to find a Superman that could take down this evil Superman, and eventually they come to Earth 23, I believe, where the President Superman is there. And he fights off this other Superman with the help of Lex Luthor. And the Justice League shows up at the end, but uh, yeah, that's basically the gist of this comic. This is kind of building off the appearance of President Superman from Final Crisis that Grant Morrison did. Uh, Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. The dialogue for Grant Morrison was actually pretty decent in this. Uh, I like President Superman. I thought his concept was handled pretty smoothly. How do you have a president that's also Superman and uh, it's actually handled pretty smoothly? It involves Brainiac and it's handled pretty well. I said that like 3 times. Only I said well instead of smoothly. The fight scene was pretty decent, and I felt as though the pacing was good. Bad, what does this have to do with regular Superman? Nothing. There's no references to the main Prime universe. I mean, if you're doing this as your own standalone story, that's fine. I guess I can see that. But I would like to see some connection to the regular universe. Uh, yeah, and the second story really wasn't that interesting. There's a backup story which deals with Superman from this universe. What I find funny is everyone in this universe, except for Batman, is African American or Black American. I guess Wonder would be Black Themysciran. I, I, I find that interesting. Why is Batman the only one that's not? Uh, on a whole, whether or not you should get it, I liked this Superman. I think he's fun. I think he's interesting. But I would have to give this a 3 out of 5. It was an okay issue, but it's kind of its own standalone issue. It didn't really do anything for the Action Comic story that's going on. It would have been interesting to see President Superman crossover with the regular Superman, but they're not going to do that. But yeah, like I said, on a whole, it's a pretty decent story. It's enjoyable. Nothing to write home to, but I'm looking forward to Action Comics picking back up again. Maybe it's good that we had this issue, especially after the quite long and intense story arc that we had with Superman previously. So it's kind of a cool down period. So yeah, that is the comics for this week. Which comic did I enjoy the most? Well, you're just going to have to watch my Andrew Carter Pick of the Week video, which I will do tomorrow. But yeah, pretty big week. I think the new 52 second wave, I will continue 2 of them, and 2 of them I'll probably not. I'll continue Earth 2, and I will continue World's Finest. GI Combat, I mean, it was fun. Maybe I might put it in my box for later. But Dial H for Hero, or just Dial H, I probably won't continue. So, yes, that is the end of this week. I will see you guys later. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.